All right, here's question 82. How many atoms of oxygen are needed to produce 18 grams of ice? All right, so let's solve this quickly. First off, this is ice, solid water. That is ice. 18 grams, right? So hopefully we'll divide this by the molar mass of water, 18, to convert it to moles. So that means that 18 grams is actually just 1 mole of water. So they're just asking us that how many atoms of oxygen are needed to produce 1 mole of water. We can see from this balanced equation, I hope it's balanced. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. So from this balanced equation, right, 3 moles of O2 produces 2 moles of water. Okay, so that means that if we need 1 mole of water, we're going to need 3/2 moles of oxygen, which is 1.5 moles of oxygen to do that for us. Okay, so that's the moles of oxygen that we would need to produce 18 grams of ice. See how simple that is? We're not done, by the way. That's just moles. They asked how many atoms of oxygen. Now, 1 mole of oxygen contains, what does 1 mole of oxygen contain? It contains 2 moles of oxygen atom. Okay, 1 mole of oxygen. Oxygen is O2. So 1 mole of oxygen contains 2 moles of oxygen atoms. It's like having O2 and then breaking it down to 2O, right? I'm doing a little dissociation there. So that's 2 oxygen atoms. So you can see here now that 1 mole of oxygen gas, O2, contains 2 moles of oxygen atom. Do you understand it now? All right. So it means that if I have 1.5 moles of oxygen gas, I'm talking about 1.5 times 2, which is basically 3 moles of oxygen atom. Okay. Now, 1 mole of oxygen atom, 1 mole, that is the quantity of oxygen atom, contains plenty small atoms inside. Okay, so how many exactly? It's actually 6.022 times 10 raised to the power 23 atoms. That's 1 mole of oxygen atom contains that amount of atoms. So if we're talking about 3 moles of oxygen atoms, then it's going to be 3 times 6.022 times 10 raised to the power 23. And that will be 1.8066 times 10 raised to the power 24 atoms. That's how many atoms of oxygen are needed to produce 18 grams of ice. They didn't ask how many molecules of oxygen, okay? They asked how many atoms. So we really needed to do this. Get the moles of oxygen you're dealing with, that's O2 gas, and think about it in terms of the oxygen atoms themselves and how many moles are present there. And then you figure out how many atoms are there based on this Avogadro's number. So this would look like a reasonable answer, okay? So that's it. If you're asked how many molecules of oxygen you're dealing with here, then you should think about it this way, that 1 mole of oxygen, that's 1 mole of O2, contains basically 1 mole of oxygen molecule. If you're talking about molecules now, because a molecule is how a substance exists freely. So oxygen exists as O2, right? So O2 itself is the molecule. So 1 mole of O2 is 1 mole of O2 molecules. That's what it means. Yes. But if you're asked how many atoms, then you have to take this into this format and then break it down, which is what we did. So let me know if this is clear. If you have any questions or any follow-up questions regarding this, feel free to send them in. All right, I'll see you on 83. Bye.